I'm Richard Landsbury, Sales Director here at Veryon. And today we're going to look at modern MRO software packages. So in the past, why you did need them versus now why you absolutely do. But first, just a little bit about Veryon. You can't see that very well. There we go. So just by a show of hands, who here has heard of Veryon, who uses Veryon? There's some valuable feedback from our marketing team there. So Veryon, we've been around for 40 plus years. You may know us as ATP. We then acquired Casebank Technology, Flight Docs, rebranded as Veryon in 2023, acquired Rosada, the business that I work for, and then this year RCMBT. So Veryon is made up of a wide range of products across the aviation industry, which come together to provide one larger ecosystem for the aviation world. A few statistics: we are about 320 people now, something like 43,000 aircraft tracked within our software somewhere, and about 5,000 individual unique customers. In terms of products, so 4 main products. So Veryon Publications, this was formerly ATP Hub. I'm sure some people are familiar. Veryon Tracking, this was formerly Flight Docs. So this is our analyst-supported maintenance tracking software. Veryon Tracking Plus, so formerly Rosada Envision, our large solution, so our ERP tool, made up of 11 modules, everything from camo to base maintenance, flight operations, quality and safety, inventory management, and HR, and then diagnostics. So made up of guided troubleshooting, defect analysis, and now reliability. So how do these come together? So each product has a range of standard APIs, which allows information to be passed between the different softwares. So for instance, Veryon Tracking would interface with publications for things like task cards, ADs, and SBs. Veryon Tracking Plus would send information to defect analysis, and then our reliability tool would really take a feed from everywhere to give you those reliability reports. So the subject of today then, so historically and in the past, why did you need an MRO software solution? Well, was it pressure from the regulators? Was it pressure from the authorities to show compliance with your SOPs and manuals? Or was it, can you read that? Yes. Was it because operators expected it? Did your customers as an MRO expect you to have a system in place to show that things were being done professionally? Was it because, well, everybody else had one and it was the done thing? Yes, it's very nice to have everything in one system and everybody working together, but ultimately, and arguably, it was a nice to have. We'll hear this often today. We've always done it this way. It's my favorite quotation. I hear it every single day somewhere when I speak to MROs. But then going forward, why do you need an MRO software? So now, since MROs, and as we've just heard, are facing more and more pressure to deliver in a world of manpower shortages, parts availability, and rising costs, what can these new modern MRO systems offer to help you become more efficient? Excellent. So yeah, firstly, live interactive dashboards. So every modern software solution should make use of interactive dashboards to make sure that users have the information available at all times. So these colored tiles here, we call these widgets. These are tailored to the individual user. So if I'm working in material management, I want to see when the shelf life on parts will expire, or where tooling and the calibration will expire. If I'm in camo, which ADs or SBs do I need to assess? Which purchase orders do I need to approve? It's all about having the information available when you need it. Efficient planning. So here you can see an overview of my facility. We've just heard in the previous session about how key planning is. This would show me an overview of my facility here. Each of the boxes would represent a work order. The colors just represent the different statuses. Those work orders in green, we can see progress. If I clicked on one of those, I could see a Gantt chart, a critical path, which purchase orders are becoming critical, where I need more manpower. This is drag and drop. So if something happens, I can directly move this, live information, and it just allows me to become more efficient and, where are we? Linking to this. So as we'll see later, manpower shortages are the most critical factor to MROs. So having a live capacity plan is key. I can see here in green my available hours. So from our HR system or from your HR system, what do we have available on a particular day? Versus in red, my required resource. If I click on a day, we draw two pie charts. So I can see I need 55 hours of B1 skill on a particular day, but I've only got 35 hours available. These will update live if somebody calls in sick. What happens if an aircraft is delayed? What happens if we need additional capacity? Customer access. So again, an example of a dashboard for one particular work order. I can see here the status of any part requests. I can see where tasks are overrunning. This always looks really good on a TV in the bay above the aircraft. You avoid those Monday morning meetings where you discuss it once a week. Everything is on a dashboard like this. It's all very well having this information, but where can it be used? So in the case of a third-party MRO, I can use this data, historical data, to quote more efficiently. I can take a customer work scope, for instance, and use historical time bookings, historical parts prices, historical likelihood of non-routines to then quote more efficiently or allow extra time. However, it's all very well us software companies developing all this cool modern stuff, but are MROs really ready for these modern solutions? You know, we speak with MROs every day who ask these questions. You know, we talk about AI, and they'll say, Rich, we can barely spell AI, never mind use it. We heard before, our technicians are old. They'll never be able to use an iPad. We don't want digital signatures. And my favorite, but we've always done it this way. So we did a survey. So we surveyed 800 aviation professionals, and these were the results. So we asked, what do you see as the biggest threat to business aviation maintenance? And this is what we got. So 44% said that technician shortages were a concern. 26% said that supply chain challenges were holding them back. So how can we use modern MRO solutions to help? Well, the opportunities to address workforce shortages with smarter automation, assistance from technology, better planning. The opportunity to address supply chain delays by predicting future needs, ordering on demand, parts forecasting. The opportunity to limit rising costs through optimal purchasing, predictive maintenance. But what's next? Where do we go from here with modern software solutions? Well, we are very proud and happy to announce Veryon Air. So this is our new AI-driven conversational interface, which will be launched across all of our product portfolios. You'll hear much more about this throughout the coming weeks and months. But in principle, it empowers your maintenance teams with real-time data to make better decisions, combining the industry's largest de-identified data set to help make decisions across the organization. Thank you very much. Please follow us. If you do wish to get in touch, you can scan that QR code there or tap me on the shoulder. But if not, are there any questions? Hello.
And the owners not wanting to switch away from camp. We've got aeroplanes that have come into us with Traxall, but I was struggling to get the guys to move away from camp because their perception was that if they moved away, they'd devalue their aeroplanes. Yeah, is there a way of better integration for that to make sure that Veryon isn't acceptable? We use Veryon on 3 or 4 of our aeroplanes, and it's good, but we're struggling with. Yeah, but the difficulty is with aeroplanes that are on camp, were OEM on camp, to transition to Veryon was quite complex, and they were reluctant to do it.
There is this stigma out there about if your aircraft's not in camp, it's worth less. All we generally say to that is, look, 4,000 or 40,000 aircraft can't be wrong. We've got some of the largest fleets in the world on our system, and if that was truly a fact, that your aircraft was devalued, we wouldn't have a huge amount of customers. So, you know, in the US, it's a little bit different. There are many more aircraft on our system than in Europe. We'll get there, but yeah, I understand the challenge.
And things like Gulfstream's relationship within there is even more complicated because they're really reluctant to break that relationship. Even the airplanes, even with aging airplanes, it's still quite difficult to prize it away from camp.
Absolutely agree. And I don't think you're ever going to change that. You know, it might not necessarily be our market, but, you know, we work on it. That's how it is. Camp have been around for a lot longer than us. And yeah, that's the position we're just in.
Yeah, and to be fair, the Veryon products that we've got work really well with especially slightly more progressive owners, you know, that they want the information, they want the interface with the flight deck. You know, we have a Global 6000 that does a lot of hours every year, and the relationship's fantastic with the flight deck. They ring up and just check the status on some of the things, but they've already looked at that before they're flying.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that's where all of these modern solutions come in, and what people tend to want is that interface between publications, if they're using it, MRO systems, diagnostics, and for the bigger fleets, reliability. And I guess with us, with bigger fleets, you know, we can put things in multiple different platforms and give people that sort of ecosystem rather than just sort of one aircraft in a simple tracking solution.
Yeah, we also struggle a little bit with the bringing across. We tried agents and pivot tables to bring data across from the camp system to populate Veryon, because obviously it needs that data where historically it's been on camp. So that's another one of our challenges for those aeroplanes that are on Veryon now that were on camp.
Yeah, that's a service that we offer. You know, we will move aircraft across from camp. Obviously, we need access to that data to export it. If we can export it, then our analysts and our onboarding guys will put that into our system. But obviously, as you can imagine, camp are protective of what they've got and, you know, want to lose customers as less as we do. Thanks, Andrew. Any other questions? Well, there's a few I can't see. I can see somebody at the back. Hello.
Thanks. Yeah, it looks good, your software. I like it. We're introducing 2 new software packages in our business this year. One of them, the back end, is all proprietary database owned by the software company. The other runs on a Salesforce platform. The difference between the two there, so I'm going to ask you what yours runs on. The problem we have, the one that runs on the proprietary software, and this is why, or the proprietary database, this is why we moved away from a system we previously had, is that trying to get any changes made to that, the answer is generally no. It's the way it is. You can't have this field configured, you can't have this changed, whereas the system that runs Salesforce, yeah, there's a world of Salesforce consultants out there you can pay a daily rate or even a project rate to, that can tweak those to make that platform work specifically for you and your business and your customers. So my question to you is, does yours run on a proprietary database, or is it running on Salesforce or AWS or something like that?
Understood. So the database itself is a Microsoft SQL Server database. So you can run SQL Server reporting services queries, and you can pull the information. In terms of customization, and this is a question we get all of the time, I see where software vendors are reluctant, because if I customize the software for you, then when I've got to support that or upgrade it, we've got to make sure that those customizations are tested. The software is built with a little bit of customization in mind, so you can add custom fields. You can add something called approval workflows. But ultimately, you're not going to be able to change the way the screens look, the way the fields look. So it's customizable to a point, yes. We make sure you can always get data out of it. So again, because it's Microsoft technology, tools like Power BI are very good. So we'll give you access to views within the database layer that we can then pull information, display it in Power BI, and then you get those reports that you need. So it's not necessarily locked down. We just need to be a little bit careful that you don't edit database fields, I guess.
Yeah, sounds like a bit of a halfway house. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? One at the back there.
Yes, I have a question regarding the part IS. This is coming, in February 2026, next year. And the software that you are providing, they are used by Camo, by MROs, and we will have to demonstrate compliance. So where do you stand on this?
That's something I'll have to speak to you afterwards about. Again, it's not something I'm aware of to what we're doing internally. I'd have to speak to some of our compliance guys within Veryon. Any other questions? In which case, thank you very much. Cheers.